Alright, welcome back to the Flag Project, Part 4. And this is where we're going to cover how to essentially texture or add materials to these objects here. So right now I'm in Shaded Solid mode, which is number 5. If you hit number 4, you're in Wireframe. And if you hit number 6, you go into Texture mode. Okay, so you have to hit number 6 to show that. So that's under the shading menu here. You need Hardware Texturing turned on. If I turn that off, it goes away. So you just got to click on that. And so you can see elements that have textures and you have other elements that don't. Textures are based upon what are known as UVs. So if I click on this object here, and this is an instance, you can see it's selecting all four of them. I can go to the UV editor under UV and go to UV editor. Again, I'm under the modeling set here and open this up, and you'll see here are the UVs for this, the default UVs for this object, and they're not very well placed at all. In fact, I'm going to close this out and go to a different setup. There is a UV set space working space. So if you click here under Maya Classic, go to UV editing. You'll open up the UV editor. I do recommend saving quite often. In the past, the UV editor did crash a lot, so just understand that. Lately, the tests I did the last few days, though, it's been very stable. So just understand that. It's good to just make sure you save often and early. So with this object selected, what I can do is I can go to the UV set and I can do essentially an unwrap of some sort. I can create under the UV editor here, the create node. It's also under the UV editor here. There's an automatic. There's other types of forms, but just for basic, we're just going to do automatic. So we're going to go to automatic. We'll go to the options so you can see what's in here. So basically, what they do is they have planes that project, and 6 is sort of a standard for the four. Think of a cube, four sides, and then the top and the bottom would make 6. You can optimize for fewer places, and then you can go through some other options here. These are all the default settings. So basically, I'm just going to leave it at the default and click apply. And you can see what happened here. We have now our UVs all laid out here. So and that's a pretty clean UV set. Now, the unfortunate aspect is that they are not connected, so they would have seams. So you could bring this UV set into Photoshop by going to, let's see here, under image and go to UV snapshot, and you could save out a UV snapshot from that, and you could basically type in a value here. It's set to 2K right now, but the textures I've been using are 1024 by 1024, and so once you change one, the other one happens, and you can just click apply. But you want to basically create a name for this and a location. So for me, I have it going to the images, but I think I'll go to the source images here, and I'll just give it a name here, like we'll call this stairs, and then add UV, just so you can see what this will look like, and I'll hit save. So then what you do is hit the apply button, and then that would basically save us out in the source images. I've actually opened this up into Photoshop already, but you would go file open and look through your source images to find the image. And in here you essentially have your UVs on a layer. I put in a background color here, but I could then add another layer here and in Photoshop, and I could paint whatever color I want in here, or I could bring in textures, but I'll just paint some color here, just a demo. And I could go along here and use these UVs as kind of a guide of where these colors should be. Then I would make sure I turn off the UVs and then save out this file as a TIFF. And then I would be able to have that. So that's how you do it from Photoshop. So what we're going to do is basically use a texture I already have collected from a site called, if we go to here, the textures.com, awesome site. You can sign up for free. You can download only a few images a day. I think it's like 10 or 12. But you click on the PBR materials tab, and that will bring you over to this area. And then all you gotta do is click on something like this, Age Steel. If you wanted to download that, you click on it, and that would give you some options here. So you can see here you have these flat maps, and the limit is the medium size. And so I would get the albedo, which is also known as the color map. I would get that one as a medium, and then the normal map. which under medium, and this one doesn't have looks like a lot going for it. So let me try and pick another one just to see, like maybe this one, the stone here. This should have a better normal map. There we go. So if I click the medium one here for the albedo, and then the normal map, again, click on the medium. You could also choose the a roughness map if you wanted to. Click that. I actually did that with mine. And again, these are all free to download, which is really cool. But then you would just have to add a material. So to add materials to this object here, we can actually go back to Maya Classic and select the geometry you want to add the material to, and just right click on it. So I'll bring it up higher so you can see, and go down to assign new material. Once you do that, it'll open up the new material tab, and then just click on Arnold shader, and the AI standard surface shader is the one we want to add here by clicking that. Now then your attribute editor, you can just scroll through here to get to the end here, and it looks like here's the AI standard surface shader. And then you can also open up the hypershade, which is this little blue icon here. If you click that, it opens up the hypershade, and it will show the actual material that I have selected here, this AI Standard Surface 9. I'll just rename this. I'll call it Stairs 3, because I think I've got another one called Stairs. And we'll just basically look for that in here in the hypershade. You can see it right here. Here it is. And if I want to graph this node here, I'll just kind of show you this, how you do this. I'll kind of pull this up a little bit here. I'm going to clear my graph here by clicking this little icon here. And then once I have Stairs 3 here selected, I can right click on it and go to Graph Network, and then we can see the material that's being added. It's kind of useful to input these different textures. So right now it's just a color, so I could just change the color here. But I can also go to the presets if I wanted to, and you don't have to add a texture file. So if you want to try this and just replace it with chrome or gold or something else, you could do that very easily on here. Any of these materials, I'll kind of show you how to do that real quick again too in just a sec with another shader. But for right now, let's finish up this texture one. So what I'm going to do is in the color node, this is where I'm going to add that texture. So I'm going to click on this little checkerboard icon, and then it'll open up this create render node, and I'm going to click on this file node here. And what that'll do is that they'll open up an area for the file. You'll see the color has changed here, and I just have to click on this folder icon here, and then I have to, and it opens up my source images. So if you haven't set your project up right, that's where you're going to put your images in, is the source images. And these again are the ones I downloaded off that site. So on this one I kind of did some paint over. So I did some paint over on some of these, and that's what you're seeing here. So this one has some snow added to it for that image there. And I think I'll choose this one, and I'll go ahead and click open. And you can see here how the color has changed with the snow added in some of the steps here as it goes down. So now if I wanted to add the roughness, this is where having the graph is kind of nice. Just click on this guy, and then it will open up, and then you just scroll down to in the specular here, there's the roughness node, and you click on the little checkerboard, click on file, and then again click on the folder, and then find the one that says roughness on it. And I think this is the one. Yeah, here's the one here I'm going to use. So I'm going to click on this roughness one and then click open. And then the final node that I'm going to add is a bump map, and that's under again, I'm going to click on the Stairs 3 node here. It's down under geometry, so you have to scroll down here and open up the geometry tab, and right in here where it says bump mapping, you're going to click on this little checkerboard icon here. And then again, we're going to choose a file. So add these categories. It's like the 1, 2, 3, 4th one down. And then in here, we're going to change the bump from bump to tangent space normals, because this is a normal map. And then you can go into the file node here, which is this tab here, and then click on the folder and then find the normal map that you were working with. So it's this map here, this normal map, and I'm going to click open, and then it will add a little bit of depth to this and give you that kind of bumpy quality with the normal map, which is kind of nice. So, and again, the editor here, if we look at the node editor, you can see here's the material that we named stairs 3, and it's the AI standard surface. And here's all the file nodes. So here's one, and here's the place texture. And as you click on them, they'll update over here. So here's the place node, and here's the file, and then the place texture. And so the normal map went into the normal camera here, which is in the if we go click on this again, it's in the geo, so it's in our geometry tab here. The roughness map went into the specular roughness right here, and then the color went into the base color. So those three. And again, all I gotta do is click on this to bring it back to the normal, where you see all the different steps and everything in here. Now, for some of these objects, I actually duplicated the texture, and I'll kind of show you how you do that. We don't need to do it with the stairs here, but I did it with, I think, the base or possibly some other objects. But I just want to show you how you can repeat what's known as repeating the UVs with this texture. So it's, if you click on the place node here, for all these, and you just have to click on each of them to do this, you'll find that in the place node here, there's this area that says repeat UV. So you can type in a number here, and if I type in 2, it'll repeat it twice. And I'm just going to do it 2 in the U and the V for each of these. So you click on each one and type in a 2 and a 2, and then click off, and then along with the other one, a 2, a 2, and then click off. And you'll see now that the texture has been repeated twice throughout versus the one time on that. So it's again, most objects you don't have to do that with, especially if your texture map's good enough in terms of size. But for this one, to save on it, but I'll bring it back to 1 just to kind of show you the difference. Again, you can see here as we click out, it's a big difference between 1 and 2. Again, the stairs, I would just use a 1. I think I did it with the base. I did 2 or 4. I might have done it 4 times. So you can experiment with that and kind of have fun with it. Again, you don't have to apply these textures. You can just simply apply a material. So I'll do that with this one. I'll right click on it, assign new material, and then choose the Arnold shader, AI standard surface, that guy there. And then in here, you can choose a preset. So if I want, gold or something, I can do that, or, whatever kind of material I want there. Now it's gold. I'll rename this gold here. And then any of these guys I want to repeat that to, I should just be able to right click on it and assign material to selection. So click on this one. I could hit the G key as the hotkey for it. Just make sure you click on each one, hit G, and then to render this, to see the gold, you have to bring in your lighting setup. So to create a light setup in here, go to the Arnold tab here, and then click on your lighting setup here. And I already have one in mind, so open the channel box and just turn on the light layer. And I'll do a very low res kind of render here, just to show you. I have to adjust it because the settings were pretty high. And we'll just click on here. So now you can see the texture with gold, applied on the sides here, and the texture on the stairway there. So that's basically UV texturing in Autodesk Maya. Basically taking the object, you got to create your UVs. Again, not always the best way, but for an introduction, using the automatic is a good way of working, and then just applying, textures that are kind of overall. You can paint them in Photoshop if you have Photoshop, but otherwise you can use those textures again from that site, textures.com, great site. Click on PBR materials and then download whatever material you like. Just download again the albedo, and then the really just the normal map. You could skip the roughness map. Roughness is kind of subtle. It's not something you're necessarily going to notice too much. It reduces the specular essentially in this scene here. So yeah, you can have it though if you want. And that's it for this tutorial. Until next time, see you soon on Autodesk Maya. Cheers.